All right, guys, welcome to episode 1 of the Eagles Den. So I'm here with my co-host, the man, Jack Szabo. Is that what your Instagram is?
Yeah, Jack Szabo.
Jack Szabo. You guys can't see him probably, but anyways, you guys can follow me at Granger 11 on Instagram. And I'm sure there'll be tags on this and stuff at the bottom where you can find us. So anyways, welcome to the very first Eagles Den podcast. I mean, it's late as hell. It's like midnight right now. We're about to do this, but here we go. I mean, we started building this podcast. What? The studio?
Yeah.
No, the studio.
Studio? What? Like
I think it was like 3 weeks, man.
3
We thought we were
weeks,
going to get this podcast studio done in like 2 days. And here we are like a month later. It's finally done and we're able to start doing this. So anyways, things that you want to do always take much longer than what we expect originally. So just prepare for that. Anyway, so I'm just going to do a quick introduction to the show. So this show is going to be about business, entrepreneurship, and life. It's called the Eagles Den, as you can see back there. So where I came up with the name for it was my mother's native name is the White Eagle Lady. So I wanted to kind of keep it somewhere around there. I believe our clan in our indigenous background is the Eagle clan. So anyways, I decided I wanted to call it the Eagle. We looked at some other stuff regarding the Eagle and it didn't really sound too good for what we're trying to do here. So we decided to call it the Eagles Den. The spiritual meaning of an eagle is vision, healing, power, divine wisdom, and guidance. And I think that kind of ties all in with business, entrepreneurship, and life. So we're going to go into this thing. I guess, Jack, you can ask me this question. So once again, this is just an introduction to the show. We're going to be having some guests on here in the future. We're really excited. We're fired up to get this thing going and just build this thing up. So let's take it away, man.
Yeah, so just got a couple questions.
Sure.
Can you give an overview of your life, childhood now?
All right. So yeah, when I was growing up, I mean, my childhood wasn't, I didn't really necessarily have the greatest childhood per se. I didn't grow up in like a standard living environment, I guess, that a lot of people I don't know. I'm just speaking for myself. So I'll just get right to the point here. So when I was born, my dad was actually out at sea, and apparently my dad didn't see me for like 6 months after I was born. So he was out at sea working out in the Maritimes. I was born in Winnipeg. Kind of a difficult upbringing on my parents' side. I mean, they were both really young. They really did the best that they could with the resources that they had. I mean, I don't blame them at all for I don't blame them at all for how they raised me or kind of how things kind of turned out. But, yeah, it wasn't kind of it wasn't the best, I guess. I'll just leave it at that. It wasn't the best. So my parents split up when I was young, like super young. I was probably like 4 or 5. Since I was a military kid, I moved around lots with my dad all over Canada. We moved from Winnipeg to Montreal to Halifax. My mom and him split in Halifax and she went to Montreal, and then I moved back to Winnipeg when I was 5. And then, yeah, me and my dad really raised me for basically my entire, childhood and early adolescence. And then basically at probably the age of like 16 to 17, I really raised myself. So, I mean, definitely had its challenges. Definitely had its moments. I mean, I'm really grateful for my dad and kind of how he raised me, because he really taught me a lot about discipline. Being in the military, is a very structured guy. One thing that my mom said about him, that she was like, man, your dad is so structured and so organized. He'd literally write down on the calendar what we're having for dinner every single day, which I think is actually badass, because it takes your mind off of, oh, honey, what are we eating tonight? Or what are we gonna eat? And you have that conversation where you go back and forth. And eventually you're like, I don't know what I want to eat. And 2 hours later you eat something, right? So anyways, yeah, I really learned that from my dad. Having structure, I guess, and being disciplined. He also taught me a lot about how to be like meticulous and organized. Like I'm borderline probably OCD. I need things in a particular way. And that's with really everything. Like everything, like how I live, my car needs to be spotless, all this stuff, right? Where can I take it back from my childhood? I mean, I grew up playing sports. I grew up playing hockey. I played lacrosse for a little bit. Yeah. And what else did I do? I guess I was in a band for a little bit when I was in like high school. Like I was like grade 9, 10, 11. Me and a few friends were in a band. It was like one of those like screamo bands. So I was the screamer, which is kind of funny. I remember like doing like screaming when my like stepsister was home, and she'd just be like scared shitless. She'd be like, is there a demon in the other room? Like, what's that sound that's going on over there? Just wake up in the morning, just start screaming in a PA system at like 11 a.m. and skip school. So anyways, pretty interesting childhood. I guess I can touch on a little bit of it. I'm not scared to kind of share this stuff. So, I mean, there was some times where I got into some heavy, dark stuff. I used to do drugs basically every single day from the age of like, I don't know, sometime in like the middle of grade 9, I guess the end of grade 9. Yeah. Going into grade 10, probably for like, how old are you in grade 10 again?
13.
No, I wasn't. So, I think I was like 15. I don't think I was 13. Yeah, I think it was like probably like 16 or something. And then I kind of experimented with some of that stuff. Did that pretty religiously. That was my way to deal with life and to get on by, I guess. I don't know if the music had to do something with that, like trying to be this rock star or whatever, think I could drink and I'm invincible and I could do all sorts of crazy things. But anyways, that went on until I was like probably like 21 or something. And then I realized that I needed to change. Or else I wouldn't really have I wouldn't have a future. Yeah, that's pretty much my childhood. I mean, up until now. And then, I mean, I have a kid, I have a son, 5 years old. I got another baby on the way. We're hoping it's a girl. So we'll see what happens when the time comes. So, I mean, I've opened up a bunch of offices since then in the industry I'm in. I'm in the fire safety industry. We have an office here in Toronto. And we got like 7 other offices across Western Canada as well. So, I mean, it's been very lucrative. It's been successful. I've had a lot of fun. The business I'm in that I joined 6 years ago really changed my life. I was in some other businesses before. Water industry. I used to do like in-home vacuum sales, believe it or not. We'd like roll up to people's houses and like do a vacuum demo, which is pretty insane. So I actually opened up an office doing that when I was like 24 years old. That was my first like business, I guess. I was a vacuum guy. Doesn't that suck?
Literally, it sucks.
It sucks, yeah. Or it doesn't suck. Yeah. Anyway, so here we are now. Now we're doing podcasts. Got a camera guy here.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Another question. What do you think was like a major turning point to like grow a growth mindset?
What was a major turning point for growing a growth mindset? It's a great question. So I was thinking about this a few weeks ago, actually. I don't know where. We were probably filming something or I don't know. I think about weird stuff. Maybe I was in the shower. I don't know. But anyways, I first developed a growth mindset, I think, when I knew that I needed to stop on the path that I was going, when I was like drinking and using drugs, and I was just on a destructive path, right? I was on this path of just mayhem. And I mean, I didn't really know any better, but I got to a point where I was drinking like whiskey almost all day long from the moment I woke up to when I went to bed, and I'd like go to work like that. And I was just like functional like that. I wake up in the morning time and I get like the shivers, like not the shivers, there's a term for it. You get like tremors or something, I think is what they call it, where I was like physically dependent on alcohol. It got to the point where like if I even drank beer, it was like drinking like water. It'd be like, it's like, it wouldn't even do anything. There was no effect for me. So anyways, I got like a physical dependency, and I got to this place where I couldn't live with it, but I also couldn't live without it. So I remember when I first got introduced, I mean, I was in like a treatment program, like 6 months before that, I guess. Went there for a little bit, kept me clean for like, I don't know, like 3.5 weeks or something. And I left that treatment program, and I started drinking and doing drugs right then and there. And I went down that path for another 6 months. And then I remember I got to a point where I was just like shaking and convulsing on my bathroom floor of a gentleman I was living with at the time. And I was like, man, I think if I don't stop this, I'm going to die. Like, I just remember, I was like, my vision was going like white, in and out, in and out, in and out. And, I knew kind of what I needed to do. So I just started going to, these meetings, these 12-step meetings. And I just felt like from doing the work in those 12-step meetings really helped me to like see things from a different perspective. So I think that was like the first time that I believed in something that was not Brett Granger, and it was someone else. I thought I knew everything. I thought I knew better. I thought no one could tell me anything. And then got introduced to something bigger than me, and did the work in that program and changed my life. And I think that's really what opened up my mind to, I used to be so closed-minded before. I would just be like, I just wouldn't believe anything anyone would say. Like I wouldn't trust people. I didn't believe you. So I think that really opened up my mind to seeing things in a new light or perspective, as one might say.
Okay. What inspired you to become an entrepreneur?
What inspired me to become an entrepreneur? So I think one of the number one things that inspired me to become an entrepreneur is, it's funny, I think it was probably because at these meetings, all the big guys that would show up in like the nice suits and like the Cadillacs and like these, so a guy that would drive this like red Pontiac, I don't know what it was. It was like it was badass at the time. That was like 10 years ago. All these guys would show up like in nice suits and like cars and stuff. And they were driving cars. I'm like, man, how do you guys have this stuff? Like, I'm like this 22-year-old kid that's just like hanging on here by a thread. Like, so I was talking to some guys, I guess, from these meetings. One of my sponsors actually at the time. So in the program, there's like a guy that like they tell you, they recommend you. They don't tell you to do anything, because when you come from that kind of place, like you can't really, no one can tell me anything. If you tell me to do something, I won't do it, right? I'll do the opposite. So anyways, they suggest, and these suggestions aren't even, it's like, if you don't do these suggestions, like you're going to die anyways. Like that's basically what they say. I'm like, shit. Right. So one of the guys that sponsored me at the time, he ran a car dealership. So he's like the GM of a car dealership. And I was like, man, I got to get into sales. Like I got to learn how to, I got to get into sales. Before I thought like sales was like, you're going to hell, man. Like I'm going to sell you something. Like sales has a bad rap. You know what I mean? Like you go online and stuff and you look it up and it's like, oh my God, scam. Oh my God, this guy's no good, scam. Where you watch the movie Matilda. Have you seen that movie? Yeah. Matilda? Remember the dad?
Yeah.
This I don't know if was that was Matilda's real dad actually, that movie. Yeah. Do you remember what he did?
Just like
the reverse car
parts, right? Yeah.
Yeah, remember he would
he spun the mileage back.
Yeah, and brought the kilometers down and then sold that car. So that's like that was like my perception when I got like I was like, man, these car sales guys, like they're gonna go and they probably watch the thing on Matilda and rake these kilometers back and then sell this thing for like 10 grand more. So anyways, that's just kind of, but I knew everybody that if I wanted to make money, like I wanted to make money. My whole goal when I was younger was like, how do I make a G note in a week, $1,000? If I can make $1,000, $4,000 a month, man, I'm going to be richer than hell. Right. So anyways, I just knew I needed to be in sales. So I think selling is the most important skill that you can learn, because if you know how to sell and persuade, negotiate, and close, you can really do anything with life. All of life is a negotiation. All of it is sales. It's conversation, same thing. So I think that guy probably introduced me to something that I didn't quite see yet myself until I started doing sales, which I'm sure we'll talk about coming up here, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. And can you describe the moment you realized you wanted to become an entrepreneur?
The moment I wanted to become, I think that was the same question you just asked me, Big Dog.
The moment you realized you want to start your own business.
Boom. All right. So what was the biggest, can you describe the moment? Yeah. Okay. So the moment I wanted to start my own business, funny enough, so I got into sales, the vacuum thing. Let's have the background story because I think it's kind of funny. Yeah. Winnipeg, if you don't know, is a shithole. By the way, I'll just put it out there. But it's got the word win in it, so it's got to be, there's something good about it, right? And I love Winnipeg, by the way, but I hate it at the same time. If you're from Winnipeg, you know. All right. But yeah, so basically I went in for this sales job. It was I won't say the name of it just for whatever reason, but it was called like Winnipeg something and something. So I remember applying to this job on Kijiji. Do you even know what a Kijiji is?
Yeah.
You do? Oh, I think you put up an ad up there, right? Oh, I think I might have recommended that to you. Did you know what it was before?
I did, yeah.
Oh, okay, you did. Okay, so Kijiji, yeah. So I remember applying to an ad on Kijiji. This was like 10 years ago, I guess now. And it was like the name of the company is Winnipeg something. I was like, man, this seems like a government job. And you're telling me I'm going to make like, I think the ad at the time was like $3,075 per month. I was like, man, if I can make $100 a day, that's good. $100 a day. I can change the world with $100 a day. At least I thought, right? So I went in for the interview. I was like, and it was like the sketchy building on the last door. It was like the last building on the left-hand side of the west end of Winnipeg. And like right outside, there was like a bunch of garbage. It was like a garbage dump right beside the building. I remember rolling up to this building. There's like 2 windows on the side. And then there's like, literally, it looked like a prison cell. It was like gray outside. And there's just 2 little windows with like those bars. And I went in there. I was like, man, I don't know what this place is, but the ad looked hella good. And I want work because I didn't want to work in restaurants anymore. And went in for this interview. They're like, call back. I called back. They're like, you're selected. I was like, no way. You selected me? At the time I had like medium long hair and like 1-inch gauges. So I used to have like big gauges in my ears. So I was like, I don't know why this guy would choose me out of everybody, but sure, he picked me. So basically I went into that training class, and the guy that was training me at the time was like, yeah, we have a career development program where you can actually start up your own business, and we'll give you like inventory and we'll give you like cash. I was like, sweet. And then they went through the sales presentation with me, and I was like, man, this is sick. Like this thing is like the craziest vacuum I've ever seen in my life. This thing could like fly through the sky, man. Like this thing was nuts. Like, yeah. And then I just I went through the training. I was like, man, this product is sick. It's like what they pitch it as like not a vacuum, but it like is a vacuum. That's like the whole sales pitch. It's like, yeah, you're like, this is like the vacuum replacement. I was like, oh shit. It's like the master of all vacuums. So anyways, I just thought I thought it was badass. I was like, man, I'm OCD. I like cleaning. I'm going to open up my own office. So I kind of knew like right from the beginning, I was introduced the product that you can, I was going to open up my own business doing that. I didn't know there was like opportunities out there in the world where you can literally start from zero. And you're telling me I can make like $4,000 to $10,000 a month here in this company. And you're going to give me inventory to start up my own office and money to start up my own office. It's like basically getting paid to go to university. It's fucking genius. So yeah, that's how that's when I knew I wanted to start my own business. I mean, I knew I wanted to start my own business before that. I always knew that I wanted to do something bigger than myself. I always knew that I was just like, I'm a guy I'm just a person in the world, you know? Yeah. Like I've always wanted to build something bigger than myself that's going to outlast me, that's going to go on for ever and ever and ever. And I think that's still the ultimate goal today. So
okay. And what was the biggest challenge you faced?
The biggest challenge I faced when starting my business, I think the biggest challenge I faced when I started my business, it's a really great question. The biggest challenge I faced when starting my own business, man, I don't know. I guess the biggest challenge when you get into the kind of the industry that we're in, like that I'm in, it's like we're technically self-employed, like even you running the camera and stuff and like doing this or whatever, like this is like you're self-employed, you know what I mean? Like I think being self-employed is like a gift because it teaches you if you don't go out there and make it happen, it's 100% your responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like everything falls back on me. And I think everything falls back on me, and that's just how I deal with life now. Like I'm 100% responsible for every single one of my actions, good or bad. And ultimately, we all pay the price for the things that we do. So it's like, I guess learning how to become disciplined over time, because it's discipline. It's like, so becoming disciplined, and I'd also say finding good people, because people, man, I don't know about today, but like people are so different even in the last 10 years. Like when I first got in the workforce, when I was like 22 years old, like the people back then to the people now, like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm like super hard or I'm just like Mr. Tough. I don't know, but I just feel like people have changed so much even in the last 10 years. Like you're pretty tough. I think you go to the gym. So you always use the word tough, which is relatively tough. It's like I feel like you say that from like, where did you get that from? The Outsiders?
The book?
You know the book The Outsiders? I feel like they say that term tough in The Outsiders. I feel like that's like an 80s thing.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I think you were telling me it's like a Toronto thing or whatever you guys say.
I just picked it up with my friends,
Right?
honestly. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah. So I guess that would be the biggest challenge is finding good people and then developing those good people and then retaining them, right? Because you ultimately want to train and retain good people so they can develop themselves and go do their own thing. Watch these little caterpillars turn into butterflies and
Yeah, definitely.
fly far, far away.
Okay. And what steps did you take to turn your idea into reality?
What steps did I take to turn my idea into a reality? Man, that's a great question. Well, I'll tell you what kind of how we started this, because it's kind of like, so it kind of all ties together in a way, right? So with my original business, I guess I just really wanted to make like a substantial income, like initially, like, so I just saw back then there was a path. This is the path. I was good at sales. I was good at training. I have work ethic. I'm the type of person who will find the resources to make things happen. Right? Find the people, whatever. So what steps did I take? I think I just take one step. I mean, I look at what is the reward at the end of it and what is the risk. I'm very like risk adverse. I'm not afraid to take risks. I'm not afraid to eat it a little bit. I'm not afraid to go through temporary pain for a long-term gain. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think when it comes to turning my idea into a reality, I think the most important thing is like just you got to take action. You got to know what you want, come up with a plan. And this is just like goal setting in general. Visualize what you want, right? Come up with a plan, like set a goal and then come up with a plan and just take action. I mean, I knew that, for example, for this podcast, I knew that I wanted to make a podcast like 5 years ago, but I just didn't have the courage or the balls because I did not have the courage or the balls to do something like this because I cared too much what people thought about me. I was like, man, they're going to think I look like an idiot. They're going to think I sound like an idiot. And I guess I just don't care anymore. So here we are. Yeah. That's how this got created and why we're doing it. So I remember I met you and I'm just like, I was bringing you for a sales thing. I was like, yeah. You were like, telling me, you're like, yeah, I'm trying to do this. Like, what do you do? You're like, what did you say?
It's media.
Yeah, I do media. And then you showed me like a couple of videos on your phone or something. Yeah. I was like, okay, cool. Well, to be honest, this is what I'm doing. And I kind of need someone that can like do that. You're like, actually, I'd prefer to do that.
Yeah.
Like sick.
I actually really would.
And then I don't even think I called you for like a month after that. Yeah. You're probably, man, this guy just said all this stuff and just leading me on. But here we are. Okay, what's the next one?
Okay. How did you fund your initial startup costs?
Great question. So like I was telling you before, so there's like a startup program, like where you would have inventory and cash put aside for you. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so I barely even had any money saved up at the time. I think I had like $4,000 saved up after I was terrible with money too, by the way. When I was younger, I'd just blow it on stupid stuff. No one taught me money management or what to do with my money, or when I got paid, how to like put money into a tax account and like have money in a checking account and then have money in like savings to like save to invest later. I didn't learn that till like probably like 2 years after I opened up my first office. That was painful. So anyways, yeah, they gave you inventory to start up. So like, I think they gave me like, I think you're supposed to get like 100 G's worth of inventory when it was sold, but they didn't. They gave me like, I don't know, like probably half of it. It's funny. Like my first ever deal that I went out and sold when I first opened my own business. Was it the first deal? Was it the first deal or was it the second? No, it was the first deal. Get this. This is funny as shit. My very, very first deal when I got my inventory from the vacuum thing that I was doing. When I opened up my first office, I was 24 years old. I had no money. I put all my money into this business, right? I remember going to this appointment, doing it, sold it at the end. I just like, oh yeah, this is what you get, and this is what you get. And he's like, okay. And like, whatever, got the deal done. this guy writes me a check, right? I want to get a check deal or I want to get a credit card deal because I want to get funding so I can buy more inventory and keep my business going. And the guy wrote me a fake check.
Oh my God.
He wrote me a check. It was like one of the checks where like didn't have the on the top left-hand side, you know, it's like pre-stamped. It'll say like their names. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you even know what a check is?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it's like pre-stamped with their like phone number and address. Anyways, this one didn't have that. I don't know if you've ever seen one of those ones that don't have it. It's like you can, it's like you can write it in or whatever. So anyways, he wrote me one of those checks. I remember like leaving the house, like I left the equipment there. I'm like, sick. First appointment, first deal. Right. And then anyways, I go cash this check. I'm thrilled because I have access to the funds right away because I need to buy more inventory probably. I can't remember exactly, but I need the money to fund my business. And then like I go look at the bank account the next day, it's like gone. I'm like, it's like, what was it? NSF, I guess is what they call that, or like whatever. It didn't go through. And I was like, shit. Long story short is we like went back to that guy's house for like a month and I never got the inventory back and I never got a payment. Yeah. That sucked. I think that happened like 2 more times actually in the span of like, it was like 1 a month. Like that happened. You get like a fake payment. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, that sucked.
Okay.
Next question.
What has been the most rewarding part of your entrepreneurial journey?
What has been the most rewarding part of this journey, I guess? I still think I'm so young on this journey. Like I've only been doing this for like 10 years. I'm only 32. I mean, I still have a long path ahead of me. What was the question again? The most
rewarding part.
The most rewarding part. Man, there's been a lot of rewarding parts. I'm extremely grateful and I'm extremely blessed to have the life that I have today. But the most rewarding part I would say is when people start with you, and it reminds me of kind of my own story, like starting off like humble beginnings. Like my first car was like a black Kia Soul. Basically like it's like a box on wheels basically. I don't know if you've seen those before. Yeah. So I had a black Soul. But anyways, the seeing people just like start from like not having very much confidence or like self-worth or self-esteem and or money or like, and they're kind of lost, and watching them change. I think, yeah, you watch people grow and you watch people change, kind of like that caterpillar analogy I used before. So you start off as a caterpillar and you grow and then your wings grow and you fly away. So I think the most rewarding thing is seeing other people change and grow as individuals and becoming their own, creating their own identity. So it's like you're watching someone's like identity grow and change from the moment that they start with you. So I think that's really it. Watching other people, because there's this saying, you can have anything you want in your life if you help enough people get what they want, right? If you help enough people get what they want, you'll eventually get what you want, right? Something along the lines of that. So I think really is watching other people grow and develop. Like if you want to do anything big, you got to have a big team that is on the same mission as you, pushes and fights just as hard as you, is down to be in the trenches for you, with you, and whatever comes your way, you guys just keep killing and pushing through. So I'd say it's the growth and development of other people, passing the torch on, I'd say.
Yeah. Okay. And how do you stay motivated during tough times?
How do I stay motivated during tough times? It's funny because when I was just in the convention, I asked the very first world weight UFC champion, Mark the Hammer Coleman. I think I asked him the same question. Yeah. How do I stay motivated during tough times? For me, man, like I just get to acceptance. I don't know. I say this all the time to people. Have you ever heard of the 5 stages of grief?
Before, yeah.
Yeah. So it's called the 5 stages of grief. So it's like for anything difficult in your life, you can, step 1 is like you're in denial. So you're just like, this isn't happening. It's not me. This isn't real. And you're just in denial. Like you're in La La Land basically, right? 2, man, I hope I remember this off the top of my head. Do you have your phone on you? You got your phone on you. Look it up. But I think I don't want to look like a dumbass. But anyways, it's number 1 is denial. 2, I believe, is anger.
Yeah, anger.
Yeah, anger. So you're angry. You're like, oh, why did this happen? So-and-so, so-and-so. Right? 3, depression, right?
No, it's
No, what is it?
bargaining.
So you're trying to make sense of it. You're like, man, like, why did this happen? Like, why did he die? Da, da, da. I'll tell you the story after this. And then number 4 is depression. Right? It's like, fuck, like, woe is me. Like, damn, why did I do this? Why am I a victim of this? Why did they do this to me? Whatever, right? And then 5 is acceptance. You just accept it, right? So I think also in that program, 12-step programs, they teach you to get to acceptance relatively fast. It's a chapter in there. It's called Acceptance is Key. And whenever I go through a difficult time in my life, I just go read that page 417. Acceptance is key. There's like a paragraph in there, right? So yeah, I think acceptance is key, and you got to just keep doing the work every single day. There's no shortcut. So there's no fancy thing. Wish there was a one-size-fits-all cookie-cutter answer, but acceptance and keep going, I think, is the main thing. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, like I think I might have told you this, but on Monday, I found out my brother passed away.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if I probably didn't tell you. I did. I don't know. I posted, but I don't really tell people stuff like that when going through difficult times. But anyways, yeah, so, and he was young, man. He's probably like, what year were you born?
2005.
Okay, he's born in 2001. So he was, yeah. So, I mean, that was devastating. Like, but I mean, we all got our demons. He's kind of going through something similar that I was going through at the age. And I wish there was something I could have done to help him. But, I mean, I tried to help him a bunch of times, several times. So, I mean, acceptance is key, right? I wish I could have, I wish there was something I could have done, but there wasn't. So yeah, difficult times, and then you just got to keep going. So got to get to acceptance and keep going. So yeah, what was the next one?
Okay, next question. What is the biggest lesson you've learned as an entrepreneur?
The biggest lesson I've learned as an entrepreneur. Oh man, biggest lesson I learned as an entrepreneur. Can't believe we're doing this late.
Yeah.
There's vampires probably watching right now. All right. What was the question again?
What is the biggest lesson you learned as an entrepreneur?
The biggest lesson I've learned as an entrepreneur, I would say, is value people over money. Because when I was coming up and I wanted to make money, I valued money more than I valued, I'd say, relationships. And I don't know if it's because I was young. I don't know if it's because I didn't know any better. I don't know if it's because I came up from a poor family. Money's the root of all evil. I don't know, but I think, what was the question again? Biggest lesson I've learned, yeah, value. People are really everything, right? We're all like, if you think about it, you're like a seed I'm just a seed, man, inside of like a, what do they call those things that you put seeds in? They're like a pot. Is that what they call that? Where flowers grow in a pot? Yeah. So I'm just a seed in a pot, man. And I just need some water and some sun. So I think if you water people and you sprinkle some sunshine on them, they grow into magnificent things.
Mm-hmm.
Become their own character, their own person, and they grow. I think, yeah. So putting people first and yeah. So I guess it's what was it? Does that even answer the question? I don't even know if that made sense. Just went off on a tangent. What was the question?
The biggest lesson you've learned as an entrepreneur.
Yeah. So valuing people come first always. It's always people. People are the solution to everything, but they can also be the problem to everything too. So it's like, that's the caveat, right? So it's like people are the solution to everything, but people could also be the problem to everything as well too. right? Unfortunately, there is some not so good people in this world, right? So value people over everything, but protect yourself at the same time. So you got to know, you got to understand people. You got to know how to read people. You got to know what people's intentions are. You got to study people, psychology, sales, persuasion, all the same stuff, man. So I think that's answers the question, I hope.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. How do you handle failure or setbacks?
How do I handle failure or setbacks? Is that kind of like a similar
I
question?
was gonna say, yeah.
How do you stay motivated during tough times? How do you handle failures or setbacks? I don't like the question.
Yeah.
No, I'm just going to answer it. Anyways, what was it? How do I handle failures or setbacks? I guess it is a different question. The other thing was hard times. So failures or setbacks, I mean, it's a moment to, it's a good time to reflect and just pause and like look at kind of what happened and why you're in the situation you're in, and then find and then readjust and find new solutions to progress and move ahead. Right? Failure is temporary, right? Failure, like you can never truly fail at something, like fail, like done, like game over, unless if you quit. The key in life is just to not ever quit. I think people quit too easy. I think people are pussies, for lack of better words. Better word, yeah. Soft.
Okay. What role has networking played in your success?
What role has networking played in my success? Everything, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's all, once again, it's all relationships. It's all relationships. You're like, we're all one handshake away or one contact away from a completely different life. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You meet your dream spouse, like, I don't know, out in public or at the mall or, I don't know, at the fashion store. I don't know, anywhere, right? So yeah, you're one relationship away from a completely different life. Like it's all networking. Life is, once again, it's, you don't even need money per se to do anything if you just have the right connections. Because I don't think money is a thing that's actually owned. I think it's just transferred. And if you got a good group of people, it's different. Like it's different when you go to dinner with like people that have like millions and millions of dollars compared to people that like don't have millions of dollars. Because I've gone on dinner with people that are multi-millionaires, hundreds of millions of dollars, people that are millionaires, and then it's just different. It's a completely different thing. So networking is so important.
Okay. Yeah.
I think there's a thing too that I heard one time. I think it was from like, do you know who Tai Lopez is?
Sorry?
Tai Lopez?
No. Not really.
No, he was like one of the first like social media like influencer guys. You never saw that ad? It was like 10, maybe you might have not seen it. You can Google it. It was like, come look at my house. Come look at my house, right? Or come look at my car collection. He's got like Ferraris in there and like Lambos and shit. He's like, you know what's better than these Lambos and these cars? Check out these books over here. And he walks over to his like his book collection.
Actually, know what you're talking about.
Dude with glasses.
Yeah.
He probably had short hair at the time. Yeah, that was old. But that was like one of the OGs. Yeah.
I see YouTube.
Yeah. He kind of like disappeared for a little bit. He came back like, I don't know, 9 months ago, I guess, a year ago. Yeah. Yeah, he's back in it. But anyways, yeah, networking is really everything. So I think he says Tai Lopez says you want to spend 33% of your time with people that are at the same level as you, 33% of the time with people that you can help to get to the same level as you. So like not quite at your thing. And then 33% of your time with people above you. Now the hard thing is those people that are above you, usually have to pay them to mentor you. Because why would they mentor you? Then you think they got time? Like, right? Their time is valuable, right? The more wealthy someone is, the more they value their time, right? So, networking is so important. People know stuff that we all don't know. Does that make sense? People know stuff that we don't know. Does that make sense? Yeah. People know stuff that we all don't know. So if you're just around the right people, it'll open your mind and help you find
stuff,
whatever, knowledge, the solutions, things you didn't know, right? We're one contact away from a completely different life. Yeah. So choose your circle wisely.
Okay. How do you balance the demands of your business with your personal life?
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, right?
It's, that's probably actually what was one of the questions before? That's like almost is a question. The answer to one of the questions above. Sometimes that's difficult, man. Especially for a guy like me, because I never settle. I'm never content, I think is the right word. I always want more. I always want to go do bigger and more. I don't know if that's also too, because they always say this in like 12-step programs, like, you're an addict or an alcoholic and you shouldn't want more. That's your problem, is you have this obsession of more, 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 more. But I think that's also part of the shit that saved me, is I wanted more than just drinking and being a degenerate, for lack of better words. So yeah, so that's kind of always been an ongoing thing, balancing work and personal relationships. I mean, really, your relationships are at the end of the road. You're going to be remembered for your relationships, how you made other people feel, right? So I mean, the money and the success and the fame and all that stuff, like, if it helps other people, and especially people in your family, I think it's a great thing. But man, it's an ongoing thing with me. And one day I'm going to crack the code. I'll tell you that. It might not be today. Might not be this week. My goal is to have the code cracked and before my second child here. So stay tuned for more.
Okay. What advice would you give to someone considering to become an entrepreneur?
What advice would what was the question?
What advice would you give someone considering becoming an entrepreneur?
If you can't handle the last question, don't even do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. If you're not prepared to sacrifice basically everything, you won't make it. You got to sacrificing. That's probably, you know what the hardest part about being an entrepreneur is? Sacrificing things.
Yeah.
Fuck. No one wants to fuck, man. Sacrificing shit. Oh. Sacrifice time with family, friends. Like, there's been so much shit that I sacrificed. Sacrifice my own personal well-being at times, my mental well-being, dealing with people and their problems. Right. Yeah. Oh my God, man. It's ugly sometimes. But yeah. Advice. Come up with a plan, stick to it, and once again, you got to just keep going. You got to keep going. It's going to be fucking hard. You're going to want to quit. And the only way you truly fail at something is if you quit, you give it up. You can't fail if you don't quit. So be prepared to work long hours. Be prepared to sacrifice stuff. Be prepared to lose money sometimes. Be prepared to not sleep sometimes. Be prepared to forget to eat sometimes. Be prepared for the unpreparable. Right? Be prepared for shit to pop up, because not everything goes as planned. So another thing is, we wanted to get this thing set. I literally was fully convinced that this podcast room was going to be set up, Jack, in
May.
What did I say? Like 4 days?
Yeah.
It was is that what I said?
It's the end of the week.
Yeah, I was like, this is going to be set up by the end of the week. Then we got to order this from China. Then we got to do this. Then we got to do that. Took a month before this thing, right? A month, I think we said.
Give or take.
Yeah, I think it was a month. So anyways, things will take way longer than you want to. And the hard part is not everyone's going to understand. And a lot of it, you will be by yourself. So until you make it, and then man, I always knew you had it in you. I always knew you had it in you. I always knew you were, yeah. But during the tough times, there's no order. They won't, you won't find them till you make it. So, yeah, so you got to be able to handle adversity, keep going, be your own cheerleader. Yeah, be your own cheerleader. Hold yourself accountable and just keep going, keep going, keep going. Do the right things when no one's looking. I think that's a huge one. Doing the right things when nobody's looking. All right, next question.
Okay. What are your long-term goals for your business and yourself as an entrepreneur?
Long-term goals for the business and myself as an entrepreneur. It's a great, great question. So currently in the industry that I'm in right now, the fire safety industry, my long-term goal is I want to build a massive, massive company and sell it. Well, it's massive to me. It might not be massive to some people. But anyways, I want to build up this company, and I want to sell it for like, I don't know. I think I'd be, I don't know if I want to use a word. I got to choose my words here. I got to use my words probably here. I don't know if content's the right word or happy. I don't really like those words. I think I'd be, what word am I going to use here? I want to build up a fire safety company here and then exit for like 50 million.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm putting a number on myself there, but I did. So yeah, I want to build up this company and really develop the next set of leaders to take this thing to the next level and keep growing it, like keep scaling it. And I want to get our products into every single home in North America and change a lot of people's lives in the process, like the people that work here, office owners, the whole 9 yards. So that's a goal for my business. And then myself as an entrepreneur, I mean, really, I want to continuously be learning, getting the right bits of information from other people, really blow up this personal brand thing that we got going, get this podcast going. If you're interested, by the way, I think we were going to say we wanted to make some sort of like a guide to get on here. We're not just going to let anybody come on and do an interview. I mean, if you want to do an interview, you can talk to Jack. He is starting a side hustle where if you want to shoot and you're in the GTA, holler at Jack Szabo. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
I don't know how to spell that, but I'm sure there'll be something in this video when it's edited. Yeah, you can rent out this podcast studio. But yeah, if you want to be on the Eagles Den, you got to be an entrepreneur. And am I putting out the number right now? I think I should put a number out. Yeah, I guess I'll ask you probably, but you got to be an entrepreneur. You got to be in sales. You got to have done some cool stuff in your life, or I got to respect you to be on the Eagles Den. So I think that is a wrap for episode 1 of the Eagles Den. So guys, thank you so much for watching. You can follow Jack Szabo. Spell it out for yourself. I don't know how to do it.
It's JACK.
Yeah.
SZABO.
Jack Szabo. By the way, this kid is like, how old are you again?
18.
This kid's only 18.
Yeah.
Damn. Anyways, you can follow me, Brett Granger 11. I think that's what it is, right? Yeah. At Brett Granger. I don't even know what it is. At Brett Granger 11. And watch. Yeah, I guess when we get this up there. So what do they say? Subscribe and what do they say?
Subscribe, follow, like.
Yeah, subscribe, follow, like, share this with everybody. And we'll catch you guys on episode 2 of the Eagles Den. That's a wrap.
Yeah, good stuff.
Sweet. Love you guys. Take care. I'm going to bed. Kill that. You want to kill that?